Hello, good morning. Hi, everyone. Tanja here, and welcome to the very first episode of Tea with Tanja Lee, your regular cup of consciousness packed with loose leaf lessons and fully brewed blessings, all infused with self-awareness and personal development blends to give you access to fulfill your potential right here, right now. Lauren's joining, Little Creatures, Fairy Mary is joining in the house. Hello, everyone that's tuning in. I'm so excited to be hanging out with you and spending time with you. G'day, Jenny. G'day, Lauren. How are you? If you're not driving, type in how you're feeling right now. I am actually feeling really excited. I've only had like 4 hours sleep because I've been up vibing, ready for you. Victoria's ready now. Who's got a cup of tea handy? This is Tea with Tanja Lee. This is week where we come together for sacred space. And of course, I have my T2 glass pot that Kaya got me for Christmas. Thank you, Kaya. And my favorite big cup, because this is a big brewed blessing today. So this is a gift from my girlfriend, Tiffany Kingston Calder, an amazing artist. So I'm rocking my peacock today. Good morning. If you've got your tea, after this, take a selfie and make sure you tag me with it. Hey, Greg, good morning. How are you? Wow. Okay. Oh, my God, my cheeks hurt. So how you feel? You got your tea? Beautiful. Awesome. I want to get stuck straight into it because today is a really big deep dive into a big brewed blessing that is something that really, I've known this for years, but it really struck me this week as I was doing my one-on-one coaching. So here's what I would love. I'm really excited too, Pauline. Thank you. Here's what I'd love. As I share this big brewed blessing today, and hey, Val, I really would love it if you hear something for yourself that's like, oh, that's great, and you want to kind of capture it for yourself or type it in for somebody else, please do. I need some scribers. I need some people that are just, and Val, you're amazing at this, but you don't have to, but just when you hear something, type it in as a lesson, because many people watch these recordings, and when you type in something that you're getting, you have a kinesthetic relationship with the information, and then you also amplify the lesson. So I see and learn what you got, and I see and learn what others got. Good day, Diane. Good morning, Carney. Love your teacup. Isn't it beautiful? It's so big because we are diving in. And look, there's even something inside. I have a tea fetish. Tea is my religion. I love tea. So my favorite blend is called Genma Cha. It's like a earthy, sort of burnt rice, puffed rice tea. It feels very ancient. It feels very sacred, and it's just great for antioxidants. It's not super strong in caffeine, but like it does the job. All right. So if you'd be willing to type in any lessons and blessings that you get, any quotes, any ahas, please do. And if you've got a journal next to you, please make sure you capture it. I have my beautiful big creation book from Greg. So thank you, Greg. I absolutely love this sacred book. Okay. Woo, so excited. So let's get stuck straight into it because I really appreciate your time. Your time is super precious. And if you're homeschooling, I appreciate also the time that we're choosing to do this. I'm on the phone. Sorry. Next time we'll get my laptop. All good, Val. All good. Much love. Hey, Kate, your energy is on fire. Yes, of course I'm on fire because I'm unleashed. So won't go into the backstory. Morning, Elizabeth. How are you? Belinda, I'm sorry if I haven't said hello to everyone because I just want to download what I want to give you. And remember, the whole intention for our hanging out every Monday and Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is I just want to share with you the things that I've learned in my life. At the time that I'm recording this, I'm 47. And my spiritual awakening really started at the age of 16 when I astral traveled for the first time. I'm going to do a podcast just on that experience, what it opened up and what it taught me. And, I've been in a leadership, manager, coach, mentor role for literally 30 years. I started very young, and I've got a lot of feathers in my toolkit that I want to share with you. As I said in my coming out video, I don't see myself as a spiritual teacher or a guru. I'm just like you. I'm an ordinary person who's had some pretty extraordinary experiences, and I've come across some ways of thinking and being that, when applied, absolutely give us access to feel free and fulfilled and really self-expressed in all areas of our lives. So let's get stuck. Pour a cup of tea. So, my friends, to the first Tea with Tanja Lee. May we grow together. Here's my intention. May we grow. May we fall in love with the aroma of our souls, and may we share the magic of our brew with the world and with each other, and unleash ourselves. And it's going to be too hot. I was so excited this morning when I made my tea. I poured the hot water in, and I hadn't put the actual tea in because I was just wanting to get here to be with you. All right. So I've done some Instagram stories this week asking the question, what is the club? Can I write in sand? Yes, Melissa, of course you can, you ancient soul. What is the number one club, do you think, that we all subscribe to, whether you're conscious of it or you may be unconscious to it? Now you're going to be conscious to it. If I was to ask you, what is the number one club that every single person on the planet has subscribed to, what would you say? Just type it in on Facebook. Good morning, Melissa. Great to have you here. Hey, Nicole, it's lovely to see you here as well. Elizabeth, good. Hello, Tea with Tanja Lee. What is the number one club that you and I subscribed to many, many years ago? Ha! I know the answer. Go on, Beanstalk Properties. What is it? What is the club? Just go for it. Type it in. I'm curious to see what you say. There's quite a few people that typed in during the week. What is the club? What is the number one self-pity club, says Belinda? Cool. What is the club that we all unconsciously subscribed to when we were really little kids? Fear, the fear club, the pity party. Oh, the pity party's winning. Hey, Duke, great to have you here. I'm not good enough club. Beanstalk Properties. You got it. You got it. Now, what I want to share with you is you and I, and typically 7 billion people on the planet, all subscribe, comparing yourself to others. Yes, that's a belief system within this club. Melissa Atkin, you got it. I'm not good enough. It is the not good enough club. And when you and I want to share how we subscribed to this club, because many of us are unaware of it. Many of us are aware of it, and we're aware that we're in this club, that we're not alone in feeling like we're not good enough. And we choose to subscribe to this club consciously. And I think that this is one of the biggest pandemics on the planet. 100%, because it reduces our life source. It suppresses our soul. It dims our dreams. It erodes our brilliance. It squashes our radiance. It absolutely disconnects us from the heart of who we are and the person we came here to be. So if we're all part, consider as a premise, as an idea, right? As a perspective, as a point of view, consider that you and I, when we were little kids, we subscribed to this club. Now, hear me out. And the abandonment club, yes, throw that in too. So, you're typing on your phone, Val. So as you hear things, type it in, because you're going to deepen the lesson for yourselves and others as we hear and see what you're getting. So consider that when we were kids, when we were souls that we incarnated into planet Earth, we came here and went, wow, this place is amazing. And I'm going to get, this was our belief system, consider, I'm going to get 100% love and nurturing from the mother, from the feminine. And we think the feminine's role is to hold us close, in the bosom, and give us love and nurturing and take care of us and let us know that you're safe and this is home and you belong and I love you, right? That's what we desire from the feminine, unconsciously. And then from the masculine, what we desire is praise and acknowledgement. We want to know that who we are will be upheld and appreciated, and we want to be seen. And you see this in kids when they stub their toe or hurt themselves. They typically, if they have a mother and father in the home, they run to mama for nurturing and love and support. And typically, right? I'm generalizing, but it's common. When they do a handstand, they go, "Dad, look at this." So we go to the feminine for love and nurturing. We go to the masculine for praise and acknowledgement. And consider when we came here on planet Earth, we thought that we were going to get love and acknowledgement 100% of the time. Do you think that's possible? Just type in hell no or yeah, sure. Do you think it's possible for us as beings to get 100% love and nurturing from our mother and 100% praise and acknowledgement from our father 100% of the time? Is that possible? Thank you to everyone joining in. What do you say? Is it possible? Hey, Lael, is it possible? Definitely not, Jenny Jones says. Hell no. Think about it. If you're a parent, can you do that? So I believe that is the contract we thought we were going to come here to have fulfilled. It's a beautiful, innocent, yet naive contract. And then begins the hero's journey because, and as a coach, I've been an NLP coach, a peak performance practitioner, an intuitive reader, a clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient for decades. And here's what I know. At the age typically, I look like a witch, at the age typically of around, if you love yourself first, yes, good lesson. At the age of around 2 or 3 is where we first realize and make the decision that we are not going to get love and acknowledgement 100% of the time. And it could come in a myriad of ways. You could be a young kid and mum and dad make another baby and another baby is born. That's a really big way where something's happened. This new being has come to town and you make it mean, or we make it mean, oh, I'm not good enough. They made another one. I'm not important. I'm not lovable. Or perhaps you and your siblings were sitting around the dinner table and you finished dinner and everyone runs off and mum and dad are scraping the mashed potatoes off the plate and you're there in the kitchen and you say, "Can you read me a story?" And what happens is mum or dad go, "No, Tanja, not now. Like, we're busy." That's what happens. And you make it mean, well, I'm not good enough or I'm not loved. So in life, there's things that happen and it is never it is never what happens to us that gives us our experience of life. It is what we make it mean. It is what we infuse it with. It's what we paint it with. And there's one big message that I'd love to share in my lifetime is the importance of being the author and not the story. But this is, I believe, one of the major dysfunctions of being a human is because things happen to us and we are meaning makers. We add much, much meaning onto it. So when we were 2 or 3, something happened, a brother or sister was born, your parents separated, you hurt yourself, you weren't read a story or something more significant. In all the years that I've been coaching and doing energetic clearings and healing with people, I've seen the best of humanity and I've seen the worst. And I just want to start by saying, or continue saying, if you're on here and you were a child that had, whether it was simple things like mum and dad didn't read you a story, or on the other end of the spectrum, some pretty traumatic things happened to you in your life, I'm sorry that happened. And I wish it didn't. And it's never too late to recreate the heart of who you are and step into your brilliance and radiance and not become the belief that you have adopted. Because I've never met a person in 30 years of coaching and training and healing and clearing and connecting people to their intuitive intelligence. I've never met anyone that doesn't have a belief, whether it's 4% or 100%, that we are not good enough, that I'm not good enough. I have that belief. I don't hang out there and set up camp and toast marshmallows of misery and invite my friends and kumbaya, but you bet. Now, so if we come here on planet Earth and we think we're going to get unbelievable love and acknowledgement 100% of the time, and then something happens and we make the decision that I'm not good enough, then we instantly disconnect from the heart of who we are, from our innate genius. And when we create, I'm not good enough, well, we have to survive that belief. Now, I remember when I made that decision, when I'm conscious of it, I was 6. My mum and dad were working a number of jobs. And my parents said to me, Tanja, we might not be home when you come home from school. I was 6. We might not be home when you come home from school. And so here's a key. So what happened was my parents gave me a key. And here's what I made it mean. I made it mean I wasn't good enough, because if I was good enough, they would be at home with my toys in a semicircle when I got home from school, and we would have a tea party and we would talk about my day and we would play, right? And we would have fun. Thank you, Yui Boom, turning off. And we would have fun. Let it go, let it go. Diane sang the Frozen theme song, let it go, let it go. Yes, let it go. And this is my invitation today. So Diane, I love you. You're taking this there. I blame my kindy teacher, Diane says, asking if I wanted to come in and join the class. And I said, no, Miss Hannah, never listened to me. And it's a thing for me ever since, being listened to. Got it, Diane. Thank you for sharing yourself. Get it? What happened and what I made it mean. So Diane's saying, Miss Hannah said, come into the class. She said no, and she never listened to me. And so what Diane decided was, no one ever listens to me. And that's what happens. Something happens, said in another way, shit happens. I remember your story. Thanks, Emily. Shit happens, and it's not please write this down, somebody, on Instagram and Facebook. It's never what happens that defines us. It's what we decide as a result. It's never what happens that defines us. It's what we decide as a result. So Diane decided she's never listened to, and she never filed that decision back in the classroom with Miss Hannah and the kids. She filed that decision way in the future and said, I'm never listened to. So Diane now has these glasses that she walks around looking for evidence to be right about she's never listened to, because that's the benefit. We get to be right about the beliefs that we decide, about the things that happen in our lives, and we love being right. Do you know what I mean? We love being right, but does it work? No. So when my parents gave me a key, I decided I'm not good enough, because they'd be there if I was, and I also decided I'm alone for the rest of my life. So how did that manifest? I became very driven and very independent, even as a young kid. I would spend a lot of time on my own. I was picked on all through primary school and high school. I was bullied a lot, and I was very silent. And I've written a post on that, look for sticks and stones. Who else was bullied? If you were bullied in the house, I feel you. And what did you decide? What did you make it mean? I made it mean I wasn't good enough. There was something wrong with me. Read the Sticks and Stones post, the picture with the sticks, and you'll see how I feel about that now and what that experience taught me. So I left school at 17. I climbed the corporate ladder really fast. At 17, Fairy Mary, you'll know, I was a cadet for one of the biggest retails of its time back then. That was the place to get your leadership stripes. And, I was phenomenal, because I poured myself into work. I wanted to get into the real world. I stayed in relationships that didn't serve me. I stayed with guys that didn't treat me very well, because I didn't feel like I was good enough. My parents decided to move to Tasmania when I was 17. They asked me to go, but I didn't want to go. So there I was at the Docklands with the Spirit of Tasmania, watching our German Shepherd, watching 2 cars, all of our furniture, my mum and dad. And I stood there for 4.5 hours and watched the boat sail away like days of our lives. And what was I saying to myself? See, I'm alone now. Gathering evidence, very dramatic. And so, as I said, I stayed in relationships that didn't serve me. I was on fire when it came to work. I was growing businesses by up to 200%. I became a store manager, was managing an $86 million business and 400 people in my early 20s. I was winning many awards, and people were flying around the country to come and ask me what I was doing. Did I feel any of the acknowledgement? Did I feel anything from the awards I got? Did I feel good about myself? What's your answer? No, I didn't. Absolutely not. And then one day I did a really transformational program that had me see that I never thought I'd get married. Lincoln, we've completed our marriage after 20 years, but at the time he proposed after 6 days. We were married 3.5 months later. I spent the first 6 months of our marriage crying because I thought he was going to die prematurely, and had the love of my life that was now dead. We are talking Young and the Restless and Days of Our Lives, all entwined. Gathering evidence doesn't serve. Well captured, Belinda. I wanted to be a mum. I was diagnosed with polycystic ovaries. The gynecologist said, you may never have kids. See, I'm gathering evidence in my clipboard. I'm not good enough. Lincoln's going to die prematurely. I'm not going to be a mum. And I'm telling you, I laugh at it now with compassion and empathy. But at the time, I was deeply alone inside every cell in my body. And I thought that everything that was good that was happening to me was going to be taken away. Have you ever had that feeling? Or do you feel like life's really good and you're just like, something's coming, some shit's going to go down because this is all too good? If you know what I'm talking about, and if you've ever been there, let me know. Send me an emoji, please. So we were able to conceive. We had Kaya, and then this is where Days of Our Lives gets even more juicy. When Kaya was born, that's when I really thought Lincoln was going to die, and I was going to see my love through the eyes of our newborn. And then what else surfaced was the green-eyed monster of jealousy, because I was at home feeling like a flubba-dubba mum, and my husband, then and still is a gorgeous man. He is a hot tamale, and he's on stage and in a band with tamales in the crowd and hot tamales singing. And that's, by the way, my dream is to be able to sing like Beyonce, right? I would love that. And so I'd be at home, big boobs, swollen belly, cesarean birth, feeling like crap. I had mastitis, and Lincoln would go out and earn some money for the family completely innocently. And I was enraged with jealousy that he was going to meet someone and leave me. And all of these beliefs, and give me a hell yes, sister, I'm picking up your brew. If you have felt me, or brothers out there that you felt that the ladies are going to, sabotage you. And this was all based on the fact that what was driving me in my unconscious was I wasn't good enough. And I was gathering evidence to be right about that shitty belief. And then I got clarity. As I said, I did some deep transformational work, and I got to see that what happened when I was 6 was my parents gave me a key to open and close a door, and the rest I made up. And it impacted me physically through stress. It impacted me mentally because I did my head in. It impacted me emotionally because I was sad and lonely. And I overcompensated. And this is what we do. When we decide we're not good enough to survive that belief, we overcompensate. And this is how the birthplace of our ego. Consider there are 2 orientations that we can hang out in. I'm going to do a podcast on this on Monday coming up. I'm going to let you know that you, like me, are a divine DJ, and there are 2 frequencies you can broadcast from. You have your soul, the heart of who you are, your essence, your magnificence, your radiance, your brilliance, your creativity, your genius, your unbelievable innovation ability. That's who you really are. And then we have our ego. 98% of us are hanging out here, suffering, sad, depressed, substance abuse. It could be subtle or it could be full on. Disconnected, overcompensating, overeating, overspending, shopaholics, sexaholics, drug addicts, alcoholics, any other aholics. As I said, it could be subtle. Social media addicts, it could be subtle or it could be fully blown in everything in between. I've never met anyone that doesn't believe they're not good enough. And this is the birthplace of our ego. And as Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say, where we edge God out, where we edge our goodness out, where we disconnect from the heart of who we are. And this becomes our identity. And my friends, my brothers and sisters, when we believe that we aren't good enough, we overcompensate. I overcompensated by being successful, overachieving, never made a difference. I didn't feel anything. So how do you overcompensate if you're aware of it? Melissa's like, hell yes. How do you overcompensate? Do you study your booty off and you got to get certification after certification? Do you people please? Do you say yes when you really mean no and you don't honor your truth? Do you exhaust yourself? Are you a perfectionist? Do you, Are you constantly in service of others, which is a beautiful and noble quality, but at the sacrifice of your own energy? Where when we believe we're not good enough, we overcompensate. Yes. Where do you overcompensate? By the way, my friends, here's my invitation for Tea with Tanja Lee. I'm going to bring it really real and raw and vulnerable. And I'm going to share myself in ways where, of course I'm going to be open to being judged and ridiculed and whatever. And I get that, and it's likely to happen, and bring it on, because I know where I stand. I stand in love, inspiration, and magic, sharing my experiences, what I know, the insights, lessons, and blessings, all inside to say, hey, this pathway's worked for me. This pathway's worked for thousands of people that I've had the privilege to coach. I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that because I've earned my stripes to share this stuff, and I'm just passing it on. Saying yes when I mean no. Yes, Silvana, thank you. So please use this platform to get straight with yourself. So we have our soul and we have our ego. And our soul's agenda is to just live our creative self out loud. Our ego's agenda is to seek validation. So I have to tell you, the number one club that we have all subscribed to as kids, that I think it's time to unsubscribe to, and today's the day we do it, and we got to practice it because it's hardwired. It's the club of I'm not good enough. And what happens in that club, we are driven to seek validation, and we seek validation by overcompensating. We say yes when we mean no. We people please. We overcompensate by getting more qualifications because we have to feed a hole that says we're not good enough. This is exhausting, and this is fear-based, and this is stressful, and everything about my work and what I do, whether it's Tea with Tanja Lee free podcast, whether it's an intuitive reading, whether it's a shamanic healing, whether it's lighthouse leadership coaching, is all about shifting us from fear and insecurity and uncertainty and seeking validation to residing in the sediment of our soul where we need nothing other than the awareness that we're here. Because, my friends, there's 1 in 14 trillion chance of you and I actually being incarnated. And we are freaking miracles on the planet, yet we walk around like we aren't good enough. And guess what else? We walk around feeling like we're not good enough, judging everybody else, and guess what everybody else is doing? Imagine, take a helicopter view for a moment, rise above the earth for a moment. There's this amazing planet. Think about all the animals and plants and man-made creations that are beautiful and positive and serving us, not the other stuff, which will work out, and we're working out. But rise above and take a look, and then imagine 7 billion people moving and grooving on that planet, and all subscribing to various degrees to the belief that we're not good enough, yet we're miracles on earth. And we are consumed by wondering what other people think of us. We compare ourselves to everybody else. So my invitation for our first episode of Tea with Tanja Lee is, will you join me today in taking responsibility for a decision we made as an innocent child when we just didn't get love and we didn't get acknowledgement and praise? Will you join me in actually saying, yeah, I'm responsible for edging my greatness out. I'm responsible for deciding. And no matter what happened to you, whether it was something simple or, as I said, it could have been something deeply traumatic, and I feel you and heal you and everything in between. But as I said, it's not what's happened to you that defines you. It's what you decide as a result. So will you join me? Thank you, Kani. Will you join me? And it's a thing. Will you join me today in being responsible for the decisions we made as innocent kids trying to survive the pain of life where we didn't get that contract fulfilled? Because when we take responsibility, and responsibility as a distinction means ability to respond, we then are able to create a different reality for ourselves. We then are able to shapeshift our thinking into something more potent, more productive, more loving. And we step out of the fear of our ego, where we are overcompensating all the time, hence the stress, hence the exhaustion and the debt. And we can reign in the seat of our soul. I'm walking with you on that one, babe. Yes. So let's play. Like, I don't want this to be a podcast where it's like information. I want this to be the playroom, the workshop, the kitchen where we cook up and we brew tea and we make shit happen together. So let's do it together. If you're willing to take responsible, just like, yeah, I'm responsible. Now, I don't want you to crack the whip and go, it's my fault. That's more of the same. It's like, you know what? I'm 47, I'm 32, I'm 17, I'm 85. No matter what age you are in your physical skin bag, it's never too late to take responsibility. Now, that doesn't mean if something happened to you that you're taking responsibility for what happened. I'm saying take responsibility for what you decided. What happened to you, we're going to do some work around that in the future. I'm not going to go into that today. But if you're willing to take responsibility for unconsciously subscribing to the club that you're not good enough, just like me, and you want to bring that into your awareness today, and you want to raise your vibration to make better choices inside of a place of clarity, then type in, yeah, I'm willing to take responsibility. Awesome. And I just want to take this moment from all of you who are saying that and sharing that publicly. I want to say I love you. You inspire me. And that's where we start. Transformation starts with awareness. And that's really what I want to do here. Bring awareness to stuff that I know that's really helped me change my life. And why am I worth listening to? I'm really happy. I actually am. I jump out of bed every single morning. Do I wobbly? Do I get triggered? Yes. But do I hang out there? No. I shift stuff really quickly. I'm really, really happy, empowered, excited, alive, and I know myself as a conscious creator of my reality. I do not go down to victim town, and I see that there are a lot of people are unbelievably in pain. And I promise you they're in pain because they're hanging out in the benefits that we get from sitting in our ego. So thank you for joining me and so if you're taking responsibility, let's unsubscribe from that global club that we are all part of up until now. And if you feel that you know people in your life, family, friends, your kids, your partner, that this message will resonate with, then please share it with them. I'm going to show up here at least twice a week. I'm going to be giving out free meditations. I'm going to be giving out really full personal transformation programs and pathways for us to all elevate the experience of what it is to be on this miraculous planet called Earth. And all I would love you to do is help me share this message, because I've been brave and courageous enough to come out and reveal the authentic part of me. And I'm standing here. I'm going to bring it each and every week, but I can't do this alone. If you dig the brew that I'm putting down, filling your cup with, please tag your friends, tag those that you love and say, hey, here's a really cool message, and let's tune in. So my invitation for you, I'll be back to join you for our second episode of Tea with Tanja Lee on Monday. By the way, tell me, what did you get? What did you hear for yourself? Here's what I'd love you to do. I'd love you to reflect over today and this weekend. If you weren't subscribing to that club that you're not good enough and you're taking responsibility for that, are you willing to choose to subscribe to the club of worthiness, to the of the miraculous, to the club of love? That's the invitation. Are you willing to be responsible for filling your cup with love? And it starts with us. Please, making your partner, your kids, your boss, your neighbors, your mum, your dad responsible for you feeling good enough, being seen, being sexy, being happy, being joyful, being enough. I don't subscribe to the Jerry Maguire, you complete me. I don't subscribe to the jigsaw puzzle, you're the missing piece of my puzzle. Why? Because that's a shitload of pressure on the other person to be responsible for our happiness, our joy, our juju, our sensuality, sexuality, our love. That's our job. Self-fulfillment is an inside job. Auditions are being held for you to be yourself. It's time to inquire within. So Please, my friends, for our first episode of Tea with Tanja Lee, and I'm on a riff, so I'm sorry I'm not acknowledging your messages, but I'm actually going to read every single one. I that's my first invitation for us. By the way, everything I say to you, I'm saying to myself. Okay, so I'm not sitting on a mound of saffron here, arrived at any place. I am just like you, sharing some magic that makes a difference. Will you join me in with love? That's all we need to do. That's the homework. I reckon you're going to graduate with flying colors. Thank you for spending your morning with me. Thank you for being in the tea room and sipping on the big brewed blessing of today. And thank you for those of you who've been courageous enough to take a look and unsubscribe to the club that we are not good enough. And when you go about your day today and when you see people on the news or you see people, those that have the biggest egos are the ones that are in the pain, the greatest pain. So don't cast judgment, because every judgment, bit of gossip, everything that you speak that brings others down, it comes back at you energetically. The world is not flat, it's round. It's energy and so we are the people we've been waiting for. The responsibility for love and the healing of ourselves and the planet is in our hearts and hands. And it starts by not pointing the finger, because there's three fingers pointing back called me, myself, and I. It starts with filling our cup with love, being responsible for our fulfillment. And if you need a raft, if you need ideas, distinctions, and loose leaf lessons and fully brewed blessings to help fill it, don't worry, I got you. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. I got a whole tea drawer ready for us. I love you. I'm inspired by you. Thank you for fulfilling my purpose by being here. And please, please become a devotee. Fill your cup with love and go brew you. I love you. Have a beautiful day. I don't want to leave you. I'm going to go. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you like this message, please the word follow, but connect with me on Instagram at the Tanja Lee. Same thing on Facebook. And if you've got a question, if you've now, you're like, oh, but that not good enough, please send it to me. And I'm here to answer any question and give you as much love as I can. I'm going to be back for our second episode of Tea with Tanja Lee to share with you what are the 5 benefits that we get when we hang out in our she go and he go. We know it doesn't serve us to believe that we're not good enough. Tanja said it's time to fill our cup, and I get it. But you're going to be snapped back into that space. So I want to share with you what are the 5 ingredients of that shitty tea that has us keep hanging out there. Please join me, won't you? For Tea with Tanja Lee, Monday next week, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I freaking love your faces. I'll see you soon. And I'm still here. Hi, bye.